Welcome, everybody, to the second ever episode of the DragonBall Network podcast. Today, our group's a little bit different. We still got Steven, but we've got a new person on today. Jay Sherman. What's going on, Jay?
Good evening, everyone. It's me, Jay Sherman, Dragon Ball artist and future YouTuber. At least I hope.
That's an awesome intro.
Thank you.
And then Steven. What's going on, Steven?
I'm good. How are you, Jay?
I'm alright. I'm just chilling tonight.
And what about you, Jake?
I'm doing good. Just chilling out. Just thought that we would sit back and, talk about the Broly movie. Now, yeah, this is, now the movie's been out for, it came out 2 months ago. The Blu-ray release comes out in what, April?
I think it comes
sometime
officially June 5th.
Oh, June. Okay. So it officially comes out then, but right now the hype has died down. Most people have seen the movie. So now we're going to take a critical look at it. Now that the hype glasses are off, now we can look at the movie and dissect maybe where it went wrong, where it went right, and just look at it as not just, oh, it's the brand new Dragon Ball movie. We're going to look at it as it's a movie and we're going to dissect it down. So first we're going to start off with our experiences and what it was like when we went to go see the movie for the first time. So which one of you guys wants to start?
I could start.
I'll go ahead and... Yeah, sorry, my bad.
All right, go ahead, Jay.
That's alright.
Well, for me, this was probably one of the best Dragon Ball experiences I've ever had. And me being a late introduced into Dragon Ball itself, I think I got into Super really, really late, so I'm not as much of an expert, and I hope that's okay. The experience I had when I went to the movie theater, and I took my dad with me because, I love my dad and I want him to see it too, even though he may not have, understood it.
Yeah, of course.
But I'm just that kind of person. I like to experience it with people. So I get my tickets, I pre-order them, and first day, the entire movie, that slot was already sold out. And I was actually kind of hoping for my brother to come.
Mm-hmm.
However, because it was sold out, I wasn't able to invite them. But it was all right. I was ready. I had my Dragon Ball Z jacket on. I kind of wish I had the Super Saiyan hair because I actually kind of forgot that. So the first impression when I come in the movie theater is in the mall. It's called Deerbrook Mall,
Yeah.
and I see a whole bunch of people dressed with some of them were dressed up, some of them just had the jacket, some of them just had the shirts, but you can tell who's here for what, and everybody in the mall kind of knew already what was going on, and it was kind of exciting. It was like that, you're just anticipating that moment when the movie starts. So I'm waiting for the movie. I'm looking at all these people who are just dressed up, all excited, and I feel like I'm at home. I'm just oh, this is really exciting. And so about I had to go in the movie, or we actually had to take our seats 30 minutes before the movie started because it was so full.
Really?
And it was really, really full. It was so crowded, but I mean, it wasn't that bad. It really wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
But we actually had to go in 30 minutes early because otherwise we wouldn't be able to find good seats. So I called my dad. I'm hey, we got to go in 30 minutes early because it's going to be really full. So I did that. The audience, now I'm going to say the audience, they were just a little rambunctious, the normal audiences, because you know how we Dragon Ball fans are, you know what I'm saying?
It was really hype. Everybody in there was there to just go crazy to see that movie. I completely get that.
Yeah.
Actually, during my seeing of the movie, there were a bunch of people in the back. They kept whistling at any little scene of what's I guess Broly's girlfriend's name. Whenever she whenever she would bend over, there'd be it wasn't even sexual. It was just a little bit provocative. And they would always be whistling and saying silly things. It was that's the worst of the movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure we all had experience. I definitely, when I talk about my experience, there's quite a lot of that.
Yeah, I've actually had that. I've actually had a few people in the audience, do that as well.
Mm.
I guess it's just normal, you know.
Yeah, you're always gonna
Yeah,
have those people, you know.
Yeah.
yeah. But I mean, so I know the audience was it was a little more rambunctious than normal audiences. However, it wasn't that bad because I know some people like when they saw the movie in like other areas, they had like worse audiences, but mine was like tolerable. So honestly, what made the real experience for me was basically the audience itself plus the movie because you have them like cheering and clapping, like especially when Vegeta went Super Saiyan God, you hear people whistling and clapping, and that was like it's like the energy that fills up the entire room that gets you so excited to see the movie.
Yeah, there were so many moments in the movie where, like, oh, we had never seen this before, or like at that moment where Vegeta turned Super Saiyan God, the only place that we had ever seen that was the manga. So to see that on screen in the movie theater, I'm pretty sure everybody, at least day one, like the whole movie theater went crazy for that exact moment.
Oh yeah, the same thing happened to me, and I went on the third day actually, so
Hmm.
it was still
I went
just
on
as
the
hyped.
first.
Yeah, still just as
Yeah,
hyped.
I I went on the first day as well. So, you know, all those hardcore people that reserved their tickets like 3 weeks in advance, which I was like, we were there to see that movie and we were gonna enjoy that movie.
Oh wow.
For sure. And then I think it's like the audience like made the movie, but it's also the animation itself was like
Mm.
really bright and colorful, and it's like especially seeing it on the big screen, I feel like it's a lot better seeing it in the big screen than in any other way. But I know that some people like lived in other countries that couldn't like see it in theaters
Hmm.
or didn't have any showings. That was, I mean, I feel like that was kind of unfortunate. So I kind of you know it was kind of unfortunate they couldn't experience that
Yeah,
like the way we can. But I mean, whenever like the whole experience was like a giant roller coaster. I'm gonna say that.
yeah,
Then when the movie was over, I came out that theater breathless.
I can't really say that I had that same effect. Um, I was able to share like the movie experience with both of my younger brothers, and my youngest brother he's never been exposed or he's never experienced anything Dragon Ball, so like this was his very first experience, and I think that he started from the wrong place because this is the best of the best
yeah.
in
So
terms of
it
like
only gets
animation.
downhill from here, kid.
Oh
Yeah, so
goodness.
in terms of like how it looks, yes, but like the actual story and like
Yeah,
what you feel throughout the story, like the movie was an hour and a half, and like you enjoyed it because like it looked beautiful, but when you take a step back and you look at it from like a storytelling um point of view, there really wasn't a story. The first 20 minutes we basically knew, and it was rehashed and it was cut up and it was shortened, and then the rest was just a really nice looking fight.
yeah.
Um, so then like he came home that night. He was so excited, and we started watching like the very first episode of Dragon Ball Z. And yeah, so he
Which
was.
you have to think you're going from seeing extreme quality movie theater Dragon Ball Super Broly to going back to 1980. What was it when
I
did the
think it,
Z anime come out?
I think it was 80 89
Yeah,
or
80. So 1989 animation, like it looks nowhere on the level of what you just saw in the movie theater.
Oh
Yes,
goodness.
and
So
I didn't remember that Dragon Ball Z like not Kai but Z itself,
mm,
like the first 3 or 4 episodes are actually really really long. Like they drag on and nothing happens. It's just kind of like they follow Gohan around and he gets lost and then Goku
hmm
comes. And like
but and
yeah,
I like in Kai that's just one episode, like
yes. Yeah.
that. But that's not that's not
Let's yeah, let's
today's topic.
right. Let's not get off topic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like what was your like experience like? Like we got it from Jay, but like how did yours all go down? Like did you just walk in and you were able to go, or did you have to order your tickets beforehand? You said you went on the third day, so I'm assuming it wasn't as like crazy as it was like for me and Jay when we went like night of release.
So it wasn't packed out. Well, the actual movie theater was packed out, and we ordered our tickets. Um, I want to say like 6 or 7 days before, like the movie actually premiered, and then when we
Yeah.
got there, we were sitting in the first row. So that wasn't very comfortable. I don't remember the last time I did that, but it's still like
Oh
none of
goodness.
that bothered me. I was just there to see the movie and like also see how my little 11-year-old brother would react to something that like has been basically like it's been this huge piece of my life for as long as I can remember. Um, so I was really focused on like him having a good time as well, and
Mhm.
and maybe not so much of like me enjoying it, which is weird. I don't think many people you know had that same experience, but I wanted to pass on Dragon Ball to him, so that was my thing.
So so you went to go see this movie and you were more excited to see your little brother see something that you've loved for so long.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's I mean, that's better than just a normal, yeah, I went to go see the movie and I liked it. So,
yeah, that's true. I mean, I
yeah.
was I was also there with my like my other brother, and I introduced it
Mhm.
to him years before, and we've been watching it together, so like it became like our thing, and then I kind of wanted to drag my youngest into this too.
Yeah, make it a brother thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Um, if I could like add in just
Yeah,
real
go
quick,
ahead.
like even a week after for me, it was still packed. Honestly, and the
Really.
and the audience was actually still as lively. The second time around I went to watch it, I went with my mom, who mostly speaks Spanish.
Mhm.
So she didn't really get much of it, but she wanted to support me on it. And then I went with my brother. Now, one of the funniest things that my mom said, because she couldn't understand English that
Mhm.
well, she was like, she didn't really like it too much. What she said was like, it was like them having a contest on who can scream louder.
That's a
At least that's for her point of view.
I mean, that's a pretty good approximation of what Dragon Ball is. Who can scream the loudest?
exactly.
Yeah. So, um, if you guys don't mind, I'm gonna talk about my experience, even though
No problem.
I have a whole video on my channel about the experience. But here I'm just so we I don't remember when exactly tickets went on sale. I'm pretty sure they went on sale like a month beforehand that the movie came out, and where I live in College Town, so there's like three movie theaters around me, and I had to order my tickets online. So I ordered my tickets, and it was a packed house. And the day of, I actually had to switch the time that I was going to the movie. I had to go to a later showing because something with school came up on short notice. So I was like, great, now I'm not going to be able to see it opening night. But there was one seat left at the very front of the movie theater. So I was like, all right, I guess I'm sitting at the front of the movie theater. So I go, and the first thing that happens is I get in there. I'm wearing my Dragon Ball Z shirt, and it has the Ginyu Force on it and everything. And you could tell just walking into the movie theater, all the people, like Jay said, like there was just they were wearing their Dragon Ball gear, and you knew that they were here to get into that movie. But also, as I'm walking towards the movie theater, you can see this long line of people trying to get tickets to go see this movie. But I knew that all of the showings, at least for opening night, were sold out. So walking in front of people to get my ticket because I had an online ticket, and they were like, "Oh yeah, no, here you go. You can go see the movie." There were a couple people that I heard in the crowd that were really pissed off
Oh, I can
because
imagine how good you felt that day.
yeah, oh my god, I felt like I was Jesus. I'm like, I'll take my ticket. Thank you to go see Dragon Ball Super Broly.
Oh my
And
god.
people are sitting there like, oh dude, we're gonna mug this guy. We're gonna take that
Oh
ticket.
goodness.
So I walk into the movie theater, I sit down, and The first thing that happens is the movie comes on and everything, and then that all these people start like screaming and cheering, and like these guys are like whistling and everything, and the first thing I hear is like this guy's like, show us Goku, and then there's another guy who's like, shut the fuck up. And we're all sitting there and we're all like yelling and laughing and everything, and like I'm just sitting there like, wow, like all these people are here the same as me to see this. Like I was there too. I was like, I'm gonna critique this movie, I'm gonna write a review on this movie. And I was like, I'm sitting there, and I actually had a notebook with me because I was like, oh, I'll watch it like after this like initial viewing so that I can like enjoy it, not like writing down all these points. But then I found like a quarter of the way through the movie I wasn't writing anything down anymore. I was just watching the movie. So I was like,
you were just enjoying it.
yeah, I'm just enjoying the movie. And then of course you get all the moments like I guess should I say like spoilers? I mean if they read the title of this video, we're talking about Dragon Ball Super Broly. It was out months ago. You should have seen it by now. Some people didn't have the opportunity to, but like the Super Saiyan Green thing that became a huge theory. People popped for that. Gogeta, people popped for that. Vegeta turning Super Saiyan God, people were yelling and clapping for that.
Soul Punisher.
Oh yeah, and the tease of Ultra Instinct.
Oh, for a second, yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was.
People were going.
I heard people
nuts.
yelling.
Like it. I remember it was happening, and then it blinked silver. Like the movie theater was like, "Oh, he's just powering up." But as soon as that silver flicked, I swear it was like everybody was screaming, and I was sitting there, and I knew beforehand that was gonna happen because Geekdom kind of talked about it a little bit whenever he went to go see the early premiere. So the day the movie dropped, they were able to drop a little review on it.
I remember that too.
So I knew it was coming, but I didn't know that people were gonna just flip out like that. Like that was great. And the thing about this movie is just seeing the movie is not the experience. The experience for this movie was going to see it in theaters surrounded by a bunch of other people that were there to just have a good time and see this movie that we've been waiting a whole year for.
Amen.
And
Yep.
like I know people that pirated it. And when I say pirate, I don't mean like the people that in different countries pirated it, because like just now, what is it? India's just now getting Dragon Ball Super Broly. So they've been waiting for it. So a lot of those people probably had to pirate it because they wanted to see the movie. But like if you pirate the movie, that's not the experience. That is not the way you should experience this movie.
Definitely not.
This movie, I also made a video saying this is illegal. And I talk about pirating the movie and how it affects everybody involved with the movie, but also how it's really not the experience you should have, because this movie is so visually stunning, and just like the experience is being with other fans to see the movie. So it's definitely, we all had our own experiences. We all had our different reasons why we're there, but we were all there because we love Dragon Ball and we all enjoyed this movie.
And I think that we can all agree that we've had that same experience being in a collective group, and even though like there were some rambunctious like comments being made, it was funny. And everybody was always on the same page, like even though they might not be the ones saying it, but like it was a great experience overall, being with everyone.
For sure.
It was definitely good. So now that we've talked about our experience, now we're going to talk about the movie itself. What did you guys think of the movie? Like, taking off the hype goggles, what did you guys think about it?
So I'll if you don't,
sorry about that.
It's
No, it's okay.
I'm gonna just go first because I kind of already started talking about this.
Yeah,
saying how like if you were to take a step back and look at it from a storytelling perspective, I thought that Battle of Gods had a better story. It wasn't as beautiful. The fight wasn't as crazy, and it wasn't as animated and all that stuff. But Battle of Gods had a story, and it led all the way into Dragon Ball Super, expanding on the entire series. While Broly, on the other hand, it could be left off as like it could just be a movie. I mean, yeah, they could introduce him into the anime, or they could just kind of leave him there because it doesn't really add anything to Dragon Ball Super, the series itself, and it doesn't really take anything away. And that's my perspective.
Yeah, I think this movie as I think I've been on record as a couple times of saying that we didn't need this movie. Like, this movie was given to us because they were like, what's gonna make money? And Broly makes money.
Yeah, but
So,
they didn't expect it to make that much money. I mean, it
no,
really killed it.
but if you're going to go and release a Dragon Ball movie into the States as well, because you kind of see that, oh, people from the States are also watching Dragon Ball. When you look back at the catalog of movie characters or whatever that you can have made, they already did Frieza. So the most logical other person that's been had his fanboys from day one, still has his fanboys, it's Broly. Like, it was like, this was a giant, I don't want to say it was a cash grab, but it kind of is because it doesn't add too much to the story. So it's kind of like, they're like, all right, Super's been off the air for a while, but this movie they put out there, they were like, it doesn't really add anything, but look, it's Broly, it's Dragon Ball. Look, you guys like Broly, right? Big muscles, super strong, like,
And all the flashing lights and everything.
yeah, like
For sure.
you guys can't keep your attention on anything for more than 5 seconds. Look at this. So it's kind of like it was.
Yes.
It was kind of like I've been on. Actually, I think I privated the video, but it was a Dragon Talk video that I did when I first started my channel, where I talked about, did we need Broly, and really we didn't. I would have been just as perfectly fine with like a whole story about the Saiyans and their origins or whatever, which was supposed to be a big part of the movie but was cut out. But like, I would have been fine going to see that movie, but Toei to themselves said, what's going to make us the most money if we make a movie? And they were like, hey, I said in my video, I quoted that I wouldn't be surprised if Toei was like, Toriyama, can you just write something about Broly? And he's like, okay. So
I think they kind of had
What's
to
gonna make
force
the
him.
most money?
Go
yeah,
ahead, Jay.
he's big, has giant muscles, and
And he screams.
yeah, screams, and he's a Saiyan. That's just printing money right there.
And he has a
So-
huge following.
Yeah,
from
exactly.
all
He
of
already
his
had a huge following, so they were like, they looked and they were like, all right, that's what people don't like about him. So they fixed that, and then after they fixed that, now they have a pretty good character on their hands. Still a little bit misunderstood, but they have a character on their hands that they can still use. Just piss them off a little
And-
bit, and you got a whole new giant fight and another cash grab movie.
For sure. And I wanted to like add like my thoughts to the movie, if that's okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
So for me, whenever I first heard of the movie that they were making a movie, I'm like, oh, that's awesome, and I can't wait. I think I saw on, I can't remember where it was. It was Twitter or YouTube, but I saw the teaser, and then I saw the fact that there was like a new Saiyan, a brand new Saiyan, and I'm like, oh, I wonder who that Saiyan is. Now I'm sorry to say, but I was a little disappointed that it was Broly, mostly because I was hoping for somebody new.
A lot of people were very upset because
Yeah,
they thought that it was going to be the same Broly from Z. That, like, they were just going to do that. They were like, oh, God, they're bringing Broly back again. So
yeah.
I know a lot of people that were really upset whenever it announced Broly and it wasn't Yamoshi, which everybody thought it was going to be at first when they heard it was another Saiyan.
That's what it seemed like.
Like one of.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry about that.
No, go ahead, Jay.
Go ahead.
Okay, so whenever I heard that it was Broly, I'm like, okay, we've had Broly before. Why is this? What's gonna bring this to the what will bring this to the table that is new? But I mean, and then I heard that they were actually going to recreate Broly, and I'm like, okay, well, we'll see about that. And so I just gave it a wait, and I, gave it a chance to, I analyzed it from the trailers and everything. But when it came to the movie, I can kind of understand how they wanted to like at least flesh out Broly's character a little more and maybe change him up a little bit, which I think was I thought it was a good thing still, but the fact that it wasn't like something new was may have been kind of a setback, at least in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
The story itself, it was kind of good because I kind of thought it was gonna be like more about like the Saiyans past. I think because I was for some reason I kind of thought it was gonna take up most of the movie, but it was like I think it was like probably for like about
Well,
20 minutes.
we heard at first whenever we got leaks of the movie that it was coming out that it was going to be more like a space opera movie about the Saiyans and the history of the Saiyans. That's why everybody thought it was going to be Yamoshi and they were going to tie in the Super Saiyan God. Like nobody that was one of the first leaks that we got was that it was going to be a like origin of the Saiyans movie.
Yeah,
And
I remember
Yeah.
that too.
yeah, and that was just one of the things where we were like, okay, this is gonna be good. But then when it got announced that it was Broly, I see why it turned off a lot of people from the movie. But I can also see how it also hyped the movie up more because how many movies we have with Broly? It was 3, right? It was a trilogy.
Yeah.
It's really
And-
two. Let's not talk about that third one.
Well, Bio Broly's like the Rocky 5 of the Broly movies. Okay, so
Yeah.
Lol.
So, but we can't ignore it. I mean, it does exist, but the character, it was like we felt like it had been fleshed out already. Like there wasn't anything you could really do with the character unless you completely rewrote him. But a lot of people didn't even care if they rewrote him. They were like, why would they bring Broly back? They're only bringing Broly back because of the fanboys. And I mean, I kind of agreed with them on that point, but I was also really curious to see what they were going to do different.
Yeah, for sure. Now, I just want to go ahead and state the fact, and I probably should have stated this earlier. I actually haven't seen the previous Broly movies, and I apologize for that. But
Blasphemy!
I'm
No
so sorry.
No.
No, I mean, like I said, I've been introduced late into Dragon Ball. Because I know I've seen I saw the Tree of Life, and actually, I don't know if I saw the whole thing though. I know I saw the 12th movie. The other movies, I can't recall which other movies I've seen before, because I was either too young or I just can't remember.
Yeah.
But for sure, I know I haven't seen any of the Broly movie, and again, I'm sorry for that. But I do actually want to get a chance to do so I can like see what was different from the previous Broly and this Broly, because I know there's a huge amount of differences.
It's a completely different character.
Yes, and actually,
Yeah.
since you brought up those differences, we can talk about them, but we don't want to
Yep.
spoil it for you now.
Yeah, we don't want to spoil it for you. Maybe we'll bring you on after you've seen them. Now, I will let you know that I am one of the people that also really like the second Broly movie. I don't think that it's as bad as people make it out to be. And
I think
That's the one with
Oh, go ahead.
Gohan, right?
yeah, that's the one with Gohan. I guess
Okay.
I'm a little biased because Gohan's one of my favorite characters. But I think the only thing that ruins the original Broly movies is just the plot behind why Broly wants to fight them.
Oh yeah, the cause.
Yeah, that's the only thing that ruins those movies. Other than that, it's a typical Dragon Ball Z story. Big, strong dude wants to fight other strong dudes, and they fight, and then the good guys win.
Actually, like any other like story in Dragon Ball, it's more like I only want to fight Goku. Everyone else is irrelevant.
Yeah, everybody else get out of the way.
Right, and
Like-
then
oh,
go
go ahead.
ahead, Jay.
No, I'm sorry. I was gonna say you guys can go ahead and talk about like the differences between the two, because I actually don't really mind spoilers all that much.
No. It's okay. We're here to talk about the new Broly movie. Maybe we'll do another podcast in the future, just talking about
Oh, okay.
DBZ movies. Just
Oh
like
yeah,
All right, no problem.
We can do that.
yeah, it's because there's definitely a lot to say about all of the movies because some are good and some are not so good. So
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
and some are just rehashes of old stories, aka Lord Slug. So
Oh, yeah.
anyway, so now that we've done that, that kind of leads us into our first break. So once we come back, we're gonna talk more about what we thought about the movie, some things that we liked, some things that we didn't, and then we'll just try to elaborate it more, and then just talk about what we thought of the character in general of Broly. So everybody, stay tuned for that. We'll be back in 10 seconds. Welcome back to the Dragon Ball Network podcast. I am your host, Magic Z, and I'm still here joined by Steven and Jay. What's going on, guys?
What's up, everybody?
Hi, I'm eating some almonds.
So we're still talking about the Broly movie, and last time we were talking about like maybe comparing it to the older movies, but we're not going to get into that as much as we're just going to stay on track and talk about this movie in general. So the one thing that I wanted to bring up to you guys is that I feel this is the first Dragon Ball movie that really isn't like centered all around Goku and Vegeta. Like the movie is really the story of Broly. And that's different from previous ones where they find some way to make Goku and Vegeta, like, and even mostly Goku, just the main like story of it. But this is really about Broly, and in some ways, Goku and Vegeta aren't the
main,
good
guys.
Like, yeah, they're not really the good guys in this.
Right. I mean,
It's more of a like I was gonna say it was more like Broly being the misunderstood characters, and then Goku and Vegeta just got in the midst of it.
oh, he certainly is a misunderstood character, but that's because he's just not developed.
Yeah, and the thing is the real bad guy of this movie is not Broly, even though you would think just by looking at it that, oh, Broly's the bad guy. Broly is the main character, and we get the whole arc of why he is, but really the main bad guy is Paragus, his dad.
Right, and it's not even Frieza. Because Frieza had
yeah,
no idea about Broly.
No, and that's the thing. There's all of these like, oh, you might think Broly's the bad guy, or oh, you might think Frieza's the bad guy, but it isn't. Paragus is really Broly is a tool, not in a derogative way or anything, but he's a tool for Paragus to use as a way to get revenge.
And for his own protection, too, because he's not powerful himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's just different because every other Dragon Ball movie that you watch, it's like, ooh, big villain, gotta stop the villain, Goku's gonna save the day, stop the villain. But
I want to
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I said I want to say it's got a little bit more of drama to it because Paragus dies in vain trying to get revenge, and I think that's kind of like the saddest part of the movie. You know what I'm saying?
That's also the funniest part of the movie. The way that Frieza acts, like, oh my god.
that it's really there are also like callbacks to like when that scene happens and Frieza remember like, oh, how am I gonna get this dude more powerful? Oh yeah, that's right, I killed Krillin back on Namek and Goku turned into a Super Saiyan, so I'm just gonna kill Paragus and then fake like somebody else killed his dad. And I found that was one of the more this movie had a lot of humorous parts in it.
Yeah, for sure.
It did, especially. Oh, I'm so sorry.
No,
Okay.
go ahead, Jay, go.
I was gonna say it's even funnier when they led Broly to Frieza, and Broly just started beating him up because he didn't know who the hell he was. And then Frieza just goes from like fearing the Super Saiyan to actually like provoking one.
Well, when
Yeah,
when yeah, when Broly attacks Frieza, he's in that primal state, or the primitive state rather. He wants to hit anything. It doesn't matter what it is at that point.
Yeah.
So
he really turns into a completely different character. He turns into the Broly that we've known, where he just loses control and he's just this big raged out monster.
Except he doesn't scream Kakarot.
oh,
Yeah,
at least you know that part.
yeah. At least
Yeah.
at least you know that he's a little bit more in tune and not psychologically messed up. So this is well, I mean, I guess you could make a case that he's psychologically messed up in the fact that he's being manipulated by his father, but
But then
it's
again, when we also see those like those moments that he has where he finally experiences water, and we kind of see that he's a more gentle character. He carries what was his animal's name again?
a ba.
Ba,
Ba.
right? So he carries like his fur with him all the time, and that's like one of his like most precious items. And like he's not just an animal in that sense. He has a caring side to him, and it's we can go on and we start talking about his personality, how it's an actual personality, and it's not just a this
Yeah,
big bulging
and
character.
it makes you more like invested whenever you know he's being manipulated by his father, when you know that he doesn't want to fight, he doesn't really care about fighting, and you kind of start rooting for him, even though they kind of want you to know he's not a bad guy, but he's super powerful. And this movie really pulls you in all different directions, because it's like he's super strong. Oh, do I want Goku to beat him? But then you're like, no, he's being manipulated by his father. And then you're like, I know he's a good guy. So you really this movie pulls you all over the place with the characters, but really the main thing is that Broly in itself is a completely different character from what we've known before.
Yeah.
So it's definitely, when you look at it and you see the caring side, it really makes you root for him. And you'd think, with him being like the main name on the movie, usually with a Dragon Ball movie, it's all about Goku and Vegeta, as I've said, is that you're wondering, okay, well, there's something different about this guy. He's not your typical run of the mill Dragon Ball like villain.
I actually think if we were to compare him to other characters, he would be an almost perfect, like, split down the middle between Goku and Vegeta. More of like a Dragon Ball Z Goku and Vegeta, not a Dragon Ball Super, where Broly's able to like lash out, and he has that like the Vegeta side to him, but then he's peaceful and he's calm, and like he doesn't want to hurt anything, similar to Goku, or maybe even more so like an early Gohan, or Gohan in general. He never wants to fight. So, but then that could also be why he's so powerful, because he's also so calm. And usually Saiyans are they're rougher, they're nastier, they're like they want to be fighting, they want to engage in action. He doesn't. He actually I think I was this came into my head. Paragus is kind of like a lion tamer, and Broly's that lion. Like the lion's not gonna bite you until you start touching it, until you whip it with, with the whip, or you like hit it with the chair, whatever they do. Like
You start antagonizing him.
right, and then the lion bites you. But, everybody's gonna be pointing at the lion, saying that like it's the lion's fault, but in reality, you're the one that's provoking the lion, and so that's kind of what like Broly is. And
Yeah, Broly definitely has a lot of parallels with Gohan, as you brought up, as where he doesn't want to be a fighter, and it's kind of like you kind of sympathize with him, because you see how much he's being pushed to be a fighter,
yeah,
and you kind of, that's what makes you feel for this character. And it's just, I think all in all, I think they did a really good job with making us feel like, wow, like I'm invested in this character, instead of wanting to see, oh, I want to see him taken down. You're kind of like, towards the end of the movie, you're like, no, I don't want this guy. to
Right.
be
Yeah.
taken out.
Yeah. I
Like,
don't want Gogeta to take him out.
yeah, like Gogeta's like right there getting ready to destroy him,
Right.
and you're like, no, I don't want this to happen. And it's like, I don't know if there's ever been a Dragon Ball movie that's ever made you feel that way about someone who's supposed to be the villain.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I want to know what Jay has to think because she hasn't been exposed to so much Dragon Ball material. How did Broly make her feel? How did like all like the it leading up to the very end and everyone thinking that he would get destroyed by Gogeta, but then it ending a different way. So Jay, how did
Yeah,
that
like
make you?
For the new Broly, whenever I was first introduced into, well, what I know of the past Broly, I knew he was just, angry and he wanted to rage all the time. And I knew he was like being not controlled but restrained by like, that remote
mm-hmm,
control device. So I had that much knowledge into my head about Broly.
mm,
So I knew the gist of it. So I was gonna see the movie thinking Broly, he's gonna be like the bad guy, but it wasn't. That really wasn't the case. And like you said, Pyragus was really the quote unquote bad guy. I wouldn't say he's like bad. He's just like misunderstood. He just got unfortunately let vengeance take him over. Now as for Broly as a character, whenever I first saw this movie, I did have like I agree with what you said. You sympathize more with this character because he's more fleshed out. He has a better backstory to him, and he was just a baby who wanted to like you said, he didn't really want to fight, even though he can. Now I wouldn't say he's not like he didn't. I wouldn't say he didn't have a fighting instinct because all Saiyans do, just not more so like the other ones. With Broly as a character, um, I did sympathize for him, and I thought because me being a girl, I thought he was adorable in a way, and I just thought he was like, oh, he's so nice, he's so sweet, and then we show up to on Earth where he for some reason has the urge to fight Vegeta, but and I think that's mostly because he was feeling what his father was feeling
he was
because his
groomed to feel that way.
yeah, and then because I feel like whenever his father is like mad at somebody, Broly's gonna get mad and try to take him out because he still loves his father, and we see that in the movie, even though Chila is like your father's a bad man for
He,
pushing you to your limits.
yeah, and he
So
says that doesn't matter. He's still my father.
Right.
yeah,
And we've seen this
and it's
with
like
other
it's
Dragon Ball characters too. The ones that like Tien, he was bad before and then he turned good, but he still respected his masters. He wasn't going to embarrass
yeah,
mercenary Tao. He was gonna like let him disgracefully leave, but he wasn't gonna kick his ass instead. So same thing here. Broly wasn't gonna just completely disrespect his father and kill him or like not listen to him or whatever it was. Like it's still his dad. He probably knows best.
Yeah,
yeah,
he still has respect for his father, and his father's been the reason why he's probably stayed alive as long as he has,
Or
even though he is super powerful. But he's also taught him stuff too. So it's like any person with their father. If your father's been a huge influence in your life, you respect your father.
right.
So
yeah, for sure. And then, I mean, the fact that he grew up with his father is the reason
mhm.
why he does what his father tells him. Um, so I think I may see the movies, like I may have seen the new Broly, first. But whenever I feel like if I watch the older movies with Broly in them, I feel like I can pick up on the difference, and I feel like I'm just gonna sympathize more with the new Broly now.
Well, the thing is too is when you see the older versions of Broly, it's also going to enhance how you feel towards the new one because you're going to see how the
Mm,
character evolved basically just with different writing. But you're going to see why everybody is like raving about like I love how they like changed this character because he was so one-sided beforehand. And now
yeah,
it's kind of like okay, now he has this deeper meaning to him and I really feel like that helps him in the long run.
I don't even
Do you
think
have
he was.
anything else to
Yeah,
add
for
to that,
sure.
Steven?
Yeah, I was gonna say that I don't even think the old one was one-sided. I think that's being too generous. He he didn't really know how to say anything. He was just an animal, and that's it. Just wanted to fight. Where this one was the complete opposite. You know, they can.
and
Yeah, go ahead.
and speaking of animals,
Mm-hmm.
whenever it's brought up in the movie, Broly's rage transformation is stated by Paragus that it could be the power of the Uzaru without using the actual form, like keeping it contained. And that's something that, you know, a lot of people would like to say that that's a callback to GT maybe with Super Saiyan 4, but I really think that it's definitely something different that I wasn't expecting to see in the movie. I thought they were just going to call it Legendary Super Saiyan again or something like that, but they found some way to sneak in a actual explanation for this. So what do you think? What do you guys think about that?
I was kind of hoping that could probably explain Legendary Super Saiyan. I'm probably the only one who like kind of likes Legendary Super
Mhm.
Saiyan. Although that might just
Oh
be
no, I love the transformation. It's still with original Broly. It is stated as like an actual transformation, but they don't really call it that in this movie. It's pretty much just full power Broly is what it's called.
okay.
But
Actually, isn't it Super Saiyan and then full powered Super Saiyan or full
uh
or legendary?
I don't think it's called Legendary. I know in Dragon Ball Legends, the game, the app game, the original that is Broly full power, and whenever he's in that, that's when Paragus states that that's like the power of the Uzaru, and then Frieza kills Paragus, and then he turns Super Saiyan. So,
Right from
I think the only other form that I can think of is the like the one when Trunks went Super Saiyan, but he was like big and bulky,
oh grade
Super
3.
Saiyan
or it could
Raid
be
or Grade 3.
Yeah,
Sorry,
with the
something
Ultra
like that.
Trunks.
yeah.
Yeah. So no,
That's
that's
that
that's
and
different.
a fun fact about that the Ultra Trunks is that was also an inspiration for the original Broly, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Y-
Oh
yes,
really?
I think I don't remember which one appeared first. It was either
It
Ultra.
was it was it was Ultra Trunks
Okay,
because the movie came out after that,
okay, but then
and go
yeah.
ahead.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say that then they wanted to see, I guess, how much hype was around this character, so they created Kale, and I think that
Hmm.
kind of flopped because her power didn't make sense. Like, yeah, she was like shy, and it. I don't know. Her backstory was completely different than even the original. The Dragon Ball Z Broly. Let's
Hmm.
put it that way. Um,
And um, I think because even in Super, they don't acknowledge Kale as legendary Super Saiyan, so that's another thing that kind of debunks that as being possibly the name of the form. But it's it's completely different because I'm not sure if it's stated in the manga too that they say that that's the true actual form of a Super Saiyan.
yeah, the Berserker form.
Hmm.
Right. So I think that's just calling back to them being more like animals, and that's really it. Because they're wild.
But what do we think about them like wanting like saying that it's the power of an Uzaru like contained? Like
I personally, actually personally like that concept because one of the things is most of the Saiyans now they have their tails cut off, and they can't really go Zara without their tails. The concept of having a contained and controlled or somewhat controlled Orzaru form, to me, I think it's kind of a cool concept. Mostly because it's something that they can use, to fight other people. Although the controlling part is kind of a problem.
So
yeah, go
oh,
ahead, Steven.
actually, I was just gonna mention how Vegeta's the only one who transforms into Nozaru and who's still able to control, like his personality is still there. He's able to control the form. Whereas all any other character with Gohan or Goku, when they go into the form, they lose control. They don't know what's going on.
And I think that's because they haven't used it as often as Vegeta probably has. So what I'm assuming with Broly is that we never get a statement that says bro. We got one statement at the beginning where Paragus points out that his armor stretched out, which means that he probably turned into an Uzaru. But we never hear that he did it again after that. So maybe since he hasn't used it so many times, he doesn't have control over it, but somehow he's found a way to keep it inside of him. But as he's kept it inside, he still can't control it. That's why when he rages out, he just completely goes nuts.
Yeah.
Because like you said with Gohan and Goku, when they turn into it, they go nuts.
Right.
So that's that's my head canon on why I think
they also
that
they also go nuts from this like massive surge of power. There is the 10 times multiplier, and back when Ozaru was a legitimate form, I mean, before Super Saiyans and all of that, like that 10 times multiplier had to seem massive on their bodies, so they kind of would lose control of their their mental capabilities, and they would just become physical, and that would be enough to sustain the form.
Yeah, I really think the form isn't meant to be looked into so heavily, as throughout the whole series we hear them like referred to as, like, Goku in the first series is called Monkey Boy, like he's like a monkey, and then in Dragon Ball Z Frieza calls them monkeys. So then of course, why not a giant form that's like a monkey? I really feel like that's what it's really just meant to be, not really looked into as much and dissected like we have been doing it.
Yeah.
Now that you mentioned that, now I'm just starting to think, what's really the point of the Ozaru form? You know what I'm saying?
It was really just used in Dragon Ball to be like, oh look, Goku can turn into a giant monster, but then they had to put some lore behind it.
It was a plot device. I think.
And then turns out all Saiyans can use it. But then, like earlier conversations me and Steven have had, they really haven't even they don't really even use it as much anymore now that they have like Super Saiyan transformations and stuff. The last time we saw it was in the fight against Vegeta on Earth. Gohan used it, unless you count GT. But really, canonically, the last time we saw it was Gohan, and they really haven't used it since.
Yeah. And we did see the difference between Vegeta and Gohan using it right in that fight.
Mm-hmm.
Too, so. But
yeah, so overall, the Broly movie, I like it, but
same.
I'm not sure if it's the best Dragon Ball movie. It's definitely, if you want to just see a movie that's like all fighting and looks awesome and all that, it's one of the best. But if we're going story-wise, I'm still on the fence on if it's Battle of Gods or not because of the story. But it's definitely a movie that tugs at your heartstrings because it makes you feel for the character, and it's different from most Dragon Ball Z movies. Not Dragon Ball Z, this is a Dragon Ball Super, but just a Dragon Ball movie in general.
For sure. I think really, in reality, what the Broly movie is to basically... it's more like for the fans, if you know what I'm saying, because you know what we're here for. We're here for like the screaming, the fighting, at least in most cases.
Fan service.
The story, yeah, the story wise, I kind of have to agree with you on the when it comes to the story. I think like Battle of Gods had a better story to it. Like I for sure enjoyed it. Battle of Gods when I first saw it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's hard to argue that. If we listen, I think if we compare it to the old material, at least we got a better cinematic experience, as well as a much better, like, well-rounded character who there could be like more development from, as opposed to the original Broly. But I think having the best of both worlds, where we have a great story and fantastic animations and like the beautiful fight, I think we're asking for too much at that point.
Yeah, I definitely feel like we can't ask for everything
Yes.
because we're not gonna receive everything, even as much as we wish we would. But I still think overall, it's it's definitely a good movie. I enjoyed watching it. The experience was awesome, and I feel like when people look back on it, they're gonna do, because for every Dragon Ball movie, everybody gets hyped up for it to go see it. But whenever you look back at it at in a critical way, when you look at it, there are some things that are wrong with it. There's some things that I wish they could have done better, but there's definitely parts of the movie that I wish they expanded upon. And we can't get everything, but overall, it was still a fairly decent movie, and I enjoyed it.
I think
Same here, and I feel like it actually did influence the fan base for sure, and I think it really did make much more history in the Dragon Ball like franchise than any other movie.
Yeah, I definitely think it showed Toei that, because it's done so good in America, that now they really don't have to just focus on Japan. They also know that Dragon Ball isn't just there; it's worldwide now,
oh
and
yeah.
that it's definitely had them open their eyes to know that Dragon Ball is more popular. I'm not going to say it's more popular than it used to be, but it is still hugely popular, and that people will come out and they will spend money for this franchise. They will watch this. They will talk about it. They'll buy merch. They'll do whatever. So
For sure.
it's I definitely feel like it's opened Toei's eyes, and that's part of the reason why we're probably getting Super back, and we're going to talk about that in our third act, our third part of the podcast. So thank you guys for sticking around for part 2, and in 10 seconds we'll be right back. Welcome back to the third part of the second episode of the Dragon Ball Network podcast. I'm still here with Jay and Steven, and now we are going to be talking about, after the Broly movie, what we want to see Super do. So, what do you guys think? What if Super has already, as much as Toei likes to say that no, it's not happening, and they want to keep telling us that it's not happening, and keep denying it, even though there's been multiple sources that have said that it is happening.
Not just
That
happening; it's
what-
in, it's
what
in
are we-
production already.
Yeah, it's in production. We've known they've been trying to sell off episodes. It's kind of ridiculous at this point for them to come out and say that no, that's not true.
But they just want to
So-
hold it until the 30th anniversary, and it kind of makes
Yeah,
sense.
they want to do a big announcement.
Yeah.
But what do we want to see from the series? Like, and when the series comes back, what do you want to see? Like, what are some of the main points that you want addressed that need to be different from the first time Super came around?
So,
Well, personally, I'm sorry.
yeah,
Personally, for me, I was thinking. Now, I'm not sure if they're gonna redo the Broly arc or not. Like, some people are like kind of split on that. Like, like the good part about it is that we get to see some more in-depth story about it, whereas the cons is like how it happened with Battle of Gods and Resurrection F. It kind of it's like an extra arc that we didn't really need. But I think it's more so like can they make it work in the story? You know what I'm saying?
I definitely I know it's a really polarizing thing right now, and people are talking about, are they going to redo the Broly arc? And as much as I'm on the side of, I would like for them to redo it, only if they're going to tell the whole 3-hour story, like the full script that Toriyama had for the story. But if they're not going to do that, I would much prefer them rather just do what they did in the manga and just be like, this happened in, like, since last time we met you, this is what happened. I don't want it to be flushed out if it's just going to be a like almost one for one with the movie, because if they're not going to add anything to it, then I really feel like it's unnecessary.
I actually think it'd be pretty cool if, how they started the movie at like 20 minutes in with the they had like a timeline going from like the age that Goku arrived on Earth all the way up until now.
Yeah.
If they started and they did that backwards, and then they kind of actually expanded on what they were supposed to expand in the movie, and just give us at least a little bit. We don't have to see the fight over, because I'm sure that they're going to, there's going to be future scenes and they're going to recall back to it like they've done multiple times. I think that if they expand more so on what happened before and then have it tie in with what's on now, especially with like Moro and all that stuff, maybe there's a chance of linking all of that together. So
Definitely, and I think
maybe
that was one of my favorite parts of the movie. By the way, I didn't talk about that earlier, but just that timeline after we get past the Frieza destroying Planet Vegeta and all that, and then learning of Broly on Vampa, is that callback that kind of went through the timeline of the story of Dragon Ball. I kind of enjoyed that, and I think maybe that would be an option for them if they didn't want to like retell the whole series or like the whole movie. I would definitely think that's a viable option for them.
Yeah, like the manga, I think it had maybe a page or half a page on just like, oh, like this happened, and then we'll tell you about it later, like at another time. But instead of them telling us, the story of the Broly fight in the anime, to like go way, way back, and then like open up on like little details that like we've always wondered about. And even if it's going to involve like retcons, that's fine. But as long as
the only thing that worries me, and why I think maybe they might do a retelling of Broly, is that the manga isn't too far removed from the Tournament of Power arc. So I don't know, maybe they're going to do what they did before and tell the story like after the manga, or like before the manga even comes out. Like they're going to go ahead of it. But I feel like maybe if they wanted to like save time, they could drag out the whole, like expand the whole story of the Broly movie, and then that gives them time to go into like use more source material to go further on in the story. Because with this story in the manga, it's Toyotaro's story in collaboration with Toriyama.
Right.
So it's different from Toriyama just putting down a manuscript and then being able to send it, because it's also Toyotaro's story.
Yeah, it seems more like Toyotaro's story, because he didn't seem like he was too involved in the Tournament of Power, or not with all of the like sideline fights. Obviously, he was involved. He liked, I guess, doing the Jiren fight, but otherwise it was like, I just want to get through this. Like, let's go. Like, I'm done with this arc. Like, on to the next one. I really want to get to this. Tomorrow.
Yeah, it was definitely rushed. Like, there were so many side fights in the anime, which of course they were gonna do because they had to stretch it out as long as possible. And I really feel like that kind of hurt them, because it feels like the end episodes are kind of rushed.
Yes.
But
yeah,
I think that Toyotaro really wasn't as interested in the Tournament of Power as say if Toriyama was writing the manga still. I feel like he would have flushed it out, because it's his story.
Yeah, he would have definitely made it longer. He would have added more fights than the anime had, instead of having Kale kind of drop 60% of the fighters, and then Vegeta and Goku finish off the rest, and then just have it the main fight Jiren, and that's it.
What do you think about this, Jay?
The about the manga, the last chapter for the Tournament of Power, or the
or just like in general, like, do you think that Super would retell the story of Broly just so that they don't go past the source material, since the source material is kind of different from what they originally had?
I would say that makes a lot more sense. Only because they just don't want to divide like the hype between the manga and the anime. Because if the anime goes past the manga, it's kind of it might divide the hype between the two. One of the things that I was mostly concerned about, and it's not so much as the manga or the anime, but the power scaling between with Goku and Vegeta and everyone else. and one of the things I was kind of hoping for an explanation for was how their their power and how they're so like really powerful. They've gone like past sort of, or at least it makes it seem like it has been like past Beerus. Because I'm wondering what they're gonna do to that. Because obviously they still have their limitations, and I'm wondering what they're gonna do with are there people or other beings more powerful than that? Because that's actually one of the things I was wondering about.
A lot of people in the community are still we're still not sure about Beerus. We just assume that they've surpassed him, but there's always that argument that we haven't seen him at 100% yet.
Yeah.
So that's another big thing that I do hope they expand upon, but I really feel like maybe we're not going to get that because right now it's kind of just about Goku now, Goku and Vegeta. So Beerus is kind of like someone they fought with the past, and now he's kind of an ally. So
Okay.
maybe not something they'll expand upon. What do you think, Steven?
I think actually, if they were to fight Beerus, even if they were stronger than him, Goku and Vegeta would want to fight him, while Beerus would be very much okay with just Hakkaiing them right off the start and then having the match over with. So even if he, was weaker, like he still has that advantage over them, minus like what we saw in the manga during the like Goku Black arc.
Didn't I don't know if this was, but didn't who escaped from the Hakai energy?
That was
Zamas?
yeah,
Yusamas?
Murzamasa. Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like they've kind of made the Hakai maybe not as powerful as maybe, but it might all also depend on the God of Destruction that uses it.
Oh, actually, you're talking about when Frieza was attacked by Universe. I think it was Universe. Darn, which one was it?
9.
I'm not quite sure, but yeah, Frieza just kind of is like, yeah.
I think
look,
I
and
think
then
Jay is right. It's Universe 9.
And I think
Yeah.
it also just depends on who uses it, because whenever a Hakai is done, um, with a God of Destruction, it's easy. But when a mortal does it, I think it takes a lot more effort. That's probably why. Although, yeah,
but don't they get the power from the God of Destruction? Like,
From being a god of,
They-
like from being promoted to that level.
not what I'm saying. I'm saying that whenever they gave it to the mortal to use, that's still the strength of the God of Destruction who made it, using it.
Oh,
Correct?
yes. So I think it was stated that Golden Frieza is on the same level as that God of Destruction. I do have to check back in the manga and the anime, but
Because not all of them are equal.
yes,
There's some that are
Yeah.
stronger than others.
right. And Beerus being either the top God of Destruction or at least in the top three.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of saw that during like the exhibition match between all the gods. But I think it does. It really comes down to who's sending out the energy, because we also saw how Topo, was acting as a god of destruction, and he completely demolished Frieza.
Yeah. So getting back on track of what
Yes.
we want to see them do with Super, I really think it's going to be way different this time around, because we all know the criticisms from when it first came out is nobody really wanted to see the retellings of the movie. I'm still not sure why they did that. I think they only did it so that they could get like maybe expand the story a little bit more, but then they also rushed production of it, so the animation wasn't quite up to the standard. A lot of people just assumed that it was going to be like late Boo arc animation, like it was going to be really good at that point, but what we got was completely different.
and I feel like I actually wouldn't mind if they actually redid the Broly arc, as long as they like expand on it, and that way we have something to compare and contrast between the anime and the movie.
Yeah, and I'm not quite sure if since it's been in pre-production since October from what we know, when did the Moro arc start again?
It started chapter 42, it was the same chapter that the Tournament of Power ended.
Okay, and do you guys remember how many months ago that was?
Oh,
4.
I can't remember.
4 months ago.
Yeah. So in
So
October, basically,
yeah, in
almost.
October. So unless Toyotaro did pulled a Toriyama and gave them a manuscript, or Toriyama's manuscript didn't end at the Tournament of Power, because we don't have, I don't know if we have information that says how long the manuscript, if the manuscript ended at the Tournament of Power. So who knows? It's been in pre-production, so I'm thinking maybe if they've been working on it this long, maybe they have been working on the retelling of Broly, or they have been working on the Moro arc. So I don't know what else they could do unless they're doing something completely different that Toriyama had given them previously.
I mean, if we think about it just from like how many manga chapters there are versus how many episodes, it's about every chapter has 3 episodes. So I think it used to take them a month to push out a new episode. Like back in the day, when it first started, it was always coming out once a month. But I might be wrong on that.
Yeah, it wasn't. I thought. Or you mean like with pre-production and everything, it would take them a month for one episode?
I think so.
Because obviously the show came out every week.
Yes, it did for like a
Yeah.
consecutive, like almost a year and a half, and then they took a break, and then another year and a half.
Yeah.
I know for sure that they're gonna have a bit more time this time around, and I feel like they're gonna have a bit better direction. I think I saw with what Geekdom talked about one time. There was like this Twitter thread of an interview where I think like whoever directed Super was like, just do your best, and I think most of the production team didn't really had a lot of feeling into it.
Yeah, I really feel like, because from what we've learned, and I wanted to segue into this, is that the new style is going to be Shintani style from the movie,
Okay.
and I quite like that, and I think it's definitely different from Yamamoro's style. So I'm really intrigued to see how different it looks, and hopefully it's way better than what we got at the beginning of Super, like when it first came.
I know for
Also-
sure it's not going to be
Yeah.
like the same quality as Broly, because obviously, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because the thing between Shintani and Yamamuro's style isn't bad per se, but it's not good for animation. Whereas Shintani's is more softer and fluid.
Oh, I lost you guys.
Yeah, you guys still here?
Yeah.
Did we disconnect?
Yeah, like you cut
Oh,
out.
oh,
You said it was like softer and
oh, okay. Let me sorry. Let me go ahead and
yeah. Just say what you said beforehand.
So basically, I was gonna say between Shintani and Yamamuro's style isn't really too good for animation, whereas Shintani is a bit more softer and fluid, which is easier to animate because you have to reproduce those in a whole bunch of frames. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was actually gonna.
So-
I was gonna pull the segment in another direction, and I was gonna ask you guys: do you have like one detail that you would like to see, in the second part of Super, that we were missing from the first one, or is it a key detail from the Broly movie, or whatever it may be? Is there something like that you guys have on your mind?
I mean, the only reason I would want them to retell Broly is so that I could figure out why the hell Bardock is sitting up in space being destroyed by that ball when he just sent Goku off. Like, what the hell happened in between sending Goku off the planet and then him standing there? That's the only thing I want to know. I want to know, are they following strictly minus, or are they combining the two? I want to know what originally that story
And
was.
why in the hell did nobody else help?
Yeah.
um,
That's the one thing I'd like to see them expand upon, and that's the only reason why I'm one of the people that's pushing that I want to see Broly retold, because I'm hoping that they add that because it completely baffled me. I was just wondering what kind of story they were trying to tell with Bardock because it seemed like we got a little of both stories, but we really didn't see much of the of Bardock and his crew or whatever. Which apparently there is an Easter egg in the movie that shows Bardock's crew. I didn't know that until I saw it recently, but it was that there's more that I want to expand it upon that. So that's one of the things that I really want to see from Super.
Okay.
Me personally, when it comes to like expectations, I actually don't make that much expectations when it comes to things like this. For me, being an artist, I look more for the visual stuff rather than the story. Um, so one of the main parts that I'd like to see in Super is obviously a bit more better animation and maybe a different animation style. And I'd also like to see like other key animators. Um, I was gonna say this. I also want to see like other key animators and see how they take on Shintani style.
I think you're gonna actually be able to see that. I know that when Super first started, there was a lot of other like mainstream animes going on, and they were concentrating on I think it was the maybe it was the One Piece movie or
Yeah, well, One Piece's movie was being worked on at that time.
right. So a lot of the much better animators were they were sent over to help for that movie instead of working on the beginning of Dragon Ball Super. So maybe that's why we saw such poor performance. And now that all of that's over and Dragon Ball Super is like on top, they're gonna have the best resources and like a shit ton of money too.
Yeah, hopefully it's definitely handled better this time because as we all remember when it first started out, of course we all loved it because it was Dragon Ball, but of course there was also the fact that we were seeing it and we were like, well, this this doesn't look good at all. So
Actually,
we don't want another. Go
yeah,
ahead.
I'm actually gonna be honest. The first I want to say like dozen episodes, I was sitting there going, "Oh my god, they just killed like my childhood. Oh my god, like what are they doing?" And I was kind of panicking, and then
This
I didn't want to watch it because
it was like it looked like Flash animation,
yeah,
which isn't didn't they do it in Flash?
Did they?
I'm
I don't know.
I'm trying. I felt like I heard someone say that they were doing it in Flash, but I'm probably wrong on that one. I have no idea. But um, God, that's I just remember too sitting there watching Super. I actually got into Super late because I was waiting for it to come out dubbed, and that was before I realized that they were like, no, we're in the Universe 6 arc and subbed, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna watch it subbed, and then that's how I got into it. But I just like I didn't see it when it first came out. I saw the movies, obviously, but just watching those episodes, I was like, wow, this does not look good at all.
Yeah, it really did not.
It it kind of threw me off. Of course, like we kept watching, and eventually it got better. And then I would say that you know in the Tournament of Power, we have some of the best animation that we saw in the series.
Yeah.
So
I don't think this is to say that, when Super comes back, I don't think that it's going to be perfect either. For sure, it's always going to have its bad episodes.
hmm
So I think that's like one key important thing to keep in mind because when Super, you know, came back the first time around, people had a lot of, high expectations, but I can understand the disappointment when episode 5, you know, came out.
that's that's the main culprit that everybody points at, and that is one of the worst animated episodes that they did have before they fixed it. And what was it when they did the Blu-ray release? I think that they fixed the animation with
I
that.
think so. Yeah, I
So
remember hearing something about that too.
yeah, and I definitely think that I'm hoping that they learn from that and that it'll segue. Of course, not everything is going to be perfect. I mean, there's always going to be the people that come out and they point out like they'll pause it on a certain frame and it's not going to look good. And that's the thing with episode 5 is that Like it's just certain frames that maybe they don't specific you don't specifically catch it the first time when you're watching it, but like as I think it kind of got overblown in the fact that people were just finding these certain frames that look absolutely horrible. But when you look back at Dragon Ball Z 2, you can pause it at certain times and it looks just as bad.
Oh
I
yeah.
can tell you,
Like some key
yeah, I can
frames.
tell you for sure when Goku went Super Saiyan 3, he was showing it to Goten and Trunks. That wasn't very well animated either, because I've seen like the
Yeah.
faces from
Yeah,
that.
in most anime shows, not every frame is going to be perfect. So, I mean, with episode 5, it was a little bit more prevalent than it would be if you like went back. But Dragon Ball Z also wasn't the best animated show either. So, I really feel like now we're just asking too much and we nitpick on everything. But sometimes it's like actually justified because things are actually really bad with like said episode 5.
I
So.
mean, it's gonna be something that's gonna happen, and it probably the nitpicking part is probably gonna happen with the second part of Super for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because people want to compare it to the movie, and
That's
the movie
impossible.
had a couple.
Higher
Yeah,
budget.
and the movie had some animation too that was a little questionable. So I mean, if things in the movie are a little messed up at some points, you can't expect a TV show with a lower budget to be like on par with that.
Yeah, for sure. And then when it comes to the story, now I don't know what to expect story wise, but for the moral part, um, I don't know, for some reason a lot of people were a little when they said that the anime was gonna follow its manga, because I think I heard people say they wanted something different, although that might just be me misinterpreting things I saw on Twitter.
It's I mean, there's fans that are all over the place with it. We right now don't know where the Moro arc is heading. So, like, we can't say for certain that no, I don't want this. But of course, there's people like when the Moro arc first came out, I was a little about it too. I was like, I don't really care. But now it's getting interesting. So I'm I want to see how much like farther it goes, and hopefully maybe like if they do the retelling of Broly, that gives them time to see where the Moro arc leads, and then what they can add on to it that's not in the manga, and how they could even improve it at some points. So I don't have any problem with it following source material, but some people do.
I also
Yeah.
want them before they get to the Moro arc. I want them to explain what Goku's and Vegeta's limit is, because it seems like during this arc, they're at their limit, and yet we don't see Goku going Ultra Instinct, or Vegeta going into Blue Evolution. We see them going back into their base, and like what is their actual limit? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, and it's the limits are different because the manga the movie's more based on the manga, and that's why we don't see Blue Kaioken or we see Blue Evolution, because those are things that only happened in the anime. But what they really need to determine is what are their limits, because are they just going to keep stacking on more forms, like are they going to get more powerful, because Ultra Instinct almost seems like it should be the final form.
well, they're
Um,
saying that
Like
it's the final form.
Personally,
yeah,
I actually hope they don't give any more forms, because I feel like they already had a lot. I feel like they should build upon what they have now.
I just feel like in Dragon Ball the trump card is, oh, another form, and that's how you beat the bad guy. And I want them to stop with that trope, because I feel like with Mastered Ultra Instinct they still have to build on the story that Goku doesn't know how to tap into it like on command. So they still have that whole thing to do, but I feel like that should just be the end of it, because really whenever you think about it, just your body moving on your own and like all that, that's almost like the pinnacle. Like I'm afraid that what they're going to do is start stacking stuff on top of Ultra Instinct, and I really don't want them to do that.
Actually, it's not that they can stack stuff on top of Ultra Instinct. They can only increase their base. So I think people have this misconception that Ultra Instinct is more powerful than Jiren, but let's say if they were to have like a relay race, um, Ultra Instinct would respond quicker, but Jiren at the end would be faster. So Goku's only advantage was the fact that like he was reacting quicker than Jiren, but I think ultimately Jiren was still more powerful because
And we really don't know for certain because Jiren, at the point that we see the final battle, he is like out of it. He's been tired. He's been beaten. Like
by multiple
he's
people.
not full power.
Yeah, definitely.
So I'd like for them to expand on that a little bit more. And there's definitely things that we'd like to see from Super. And as we're getting into like our closing thoughts, are there anything you guys really want to put out there on what you believe? Like you can talk about the Broly movie or what you want Super to do. Just put it out there.
For sure. Try not to make more forms. Like I would actually have something else come into place to defeat the quote unquote enemy, rather than just a new form. That's probably one of the main things I can look for.
And I wanted to say that I think that instead of also like no more adding forms, instead they would like master it. So like Broly would understand his power and he would be able to control all of his energy, and Goku would actually master Ultra Instinct, not be able to just hold it longer with silver hair. And then
Yes.
Vegeta would attain his own like limit breaker form, and it wouldn't be Evolution Blue because we already know that Evolution Blue is stronger than Blue Kaioken. But he needs his own type of thing. This is just like a little upgrade, like a big deal, like a Super Saiyan 2 type of upgrade. Like it's no longer that big of a deal. So I think they have to go back into like the Android and Cell arc where they're trying to master Super Saiyan first and make sure that like that's their like best thing. Instead of getting stronger, they have more stamina.
Completely agree on that. And I just want to close it off by saying that I think the Broly movie was it was definitely, for what it was a really good movie. I don't say it's the best Dragon Ball movie, but I think it's definitely leaves things to be more expanded upon. And when it comes to Super, I really want them to retell the Broly movie, but if they don't, I really just want them to make sure that they go into it being way more prepared than they were whenever they first came along with Super. I hope that they tell really good stories and they really just bring, that like energy back to Dragon Ball that it's had for years and that the movie brought back into it. And I think that it's just altogether, I think there's a whole lot more things that they can expand upon. We'll see when we get there and when there's an announcement of what's going to happen in the anime. And there's definitely more things we can talk about. We'll talk about it probably next week or the week after that. And I want to thank you guys for being on the show. And I want to thank everybody else for listening to the Dragon Ball Network podcast. We're going to be on every week, Fridays, 6 p.m. And yeah, do you guys have anything you want to say before we close out?
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you. Oh. Sorry,
right.
Jay.
I just wanted to say thanks for having me. I really enjoyed talking to you guys.
Yeah, no, it's definitely we want to have more people on here. Like we don't just want it to be me, Steven, and Sal every week. As much as we all like to talk to each other, we want to get everybody else involved too. So it's definitely awesome having others on the show, and definitely go back, watch the Broly movies, and then when we do a movie retrospective podcast, we definitely want to have you on, and we definitely want to see what's changed on your opinion.
Yeah, for sure.
Of the Broly movie. All right. So, again, thank you guys for joining us today on the Dragon Ball Network, or I guess tonight on the Dragon Ball Network podcast. And we will see you guys next week, Friday at 6 p.m.